Hello, I'm Justin Hartman. I chose to review SlideDog, which is a presentation tool very similar to other PowerPoint kind of things, PowerPoint, Google Slides, except the main feature of SlideDog that makes it a little bit different than all the others is it's designed to allow you to show any kind of media files, websites, videos, pictures in a very organized and very quick way. And one of the benefits that I found very useful if you're doing a lot of media sharing is that when you start the presentation, it loads all of the media files, all of the videos, all of the graphics right away. That way, while you're going throughout the presentation, you don't have to worry about a video to buffer, you don't have to worry about anything to load, everything's already there. So I'm just going to take you through a quick uh, tutorial and like show you kind of like some of the stuff that it can do. So for example, this is what it would look like when you're about to start creating your presentation. So I want to add items. So say I want to add this photo of a picture of a castle from Germany, and say next I want to add a YouTube video. You can just search for a YouTube video. Um, so for example, I found this one, and you could just put it in there, and it automatically puts it in there, and will load up when the presentation starts. You can also put in web pages. So for example, I could put in germanlearning.net, which is my personal website, and that website will actually, I can show you in a second, but that website will actually become an active website inside the presentation. It doesn't have to take you outside the presentation to be used, which is actually really cool. Another thing you can do, which I find pretty interesting, is there's a lot of interaction things. So you can have a chat with people watching, you can have a poll, you could have feedback. So for example, if we had a chat, um, since I don't really have an audience, I can't really use that, but I'll show you kind of just what it looks like. So just to quickly show you kind of like what it will look like. So you start the show, you see here it's loading all of the graphic files, so it doesn't have to later. And we'll just wait for that to do that real quick. Alright, so we'll continue offline because once again this is just a basic showing. So for example, there's actually two options. In the free version, you can do it from one screen like this, and if you go down, you can actually go to any slide that you want at a time during the presentation. That way, if you're running out of time, you can move forward. If you want to go back, it's pretty easy. But other than that, there's the same controls as other PowerPoint methods, so you can hit spacebar to go to the next thing. So for example, here's a picture. That's a graphic. Once again, I didn't do any video or graphic editing, so it is a little blurry because it's bigger than its actual size. So like moving on to the YouTube video, here's like it just starts playing the YouTube video. So we don't have to watch, that's a long video. So for example, so then next you can go to a website. So this is my website. It's actually supposed to look different, but my computer screws around with it. But it didn't take me outside the presentation. I'm still inside of SlideDog, and what's cool is I can still actually access my website, which is awesome because you don't have to worry about it loading a web page or opening on a new browser. It just loads it right into the presentation, which I think is extremely helpful, especially if you have a lot of websites, if you want to show sources and things like that. So another thing, like I said, the chat right here is if you are showing this presentation to say a class or something, and you have people on this website, they can type in questions, they can chat with you. It makes it a little bit more interactive, which I think is really helpful and really good for a presentation. Especially when you have students, you want your students to be asking questions about things they don't understand or things they want clarification on. So this chat tool really gives you a nice little option to do that. And then you can just go up here and click and show. There's some other things you can do like live sharing and things, but those are kind of more in depth. We don't really have to worry about them. So kind of what I was talking about earlier and I wanted to show you is this single dual screen mode. Is if you go dual screen mode, that's kind of if you, it's for pro, which is kind of unfortunate and one of the downsides. But if you're presenting on a projector, for example, you can have this bar right here with the slide controls on your computer, but it won't show on the projector, and it allows you kind of a little bit of extra control without letting your students see it. and things like that. And this program, it's free to do all of this that I showed you. What's cool is it downloads onto your computer, so it's not through a browser, so you don't need the internet to use it. Of course, you need the internet to use like YouTube videos and websites. That's kind of given, but just I just kind of like this presentation tool, especially if you're doing a lot with media. For example, like if you want to show a bunch of videos or you want to show a bunch of different graphics or pictures or websites, it's just really helpful for that. And it even gives what's nice is it even gives the students or whoever is watching your presentation an option to give feedback, do polls, ask questions, and that's just really helpful for presentations. So next to save it, you just save it to the disk, or you can export it as a playlist or as a presentation, and you can just move it around like that. And those are just some of the options that kind of come along with SlideDog. It's very simple. Like the UI isn't extremely difficult. There's not a lot of buttons. There's not a lot of excess things and features that you will really never use. Because I know sometimes that can get kind of annoying and kind of in the way. And that's kind of why I like SlideDog a little bit more. Is it's very simple, has a lot of good features with graphics and media, and I think probably my favorite feature, and I think is one of the more important ones, is that once again it loads everything the moment you start the presentation, so you don't have to worry about it throughout the presentation. And it works with any kind of files you can imagine. So any kind of image files, any kind of video files, any kind of websites. So you can put on YouTube videos, MP4s, .moves, anything. Images you could do JPEGs, PNGs, you could do GIFs. It really doesn't matter, which is really nice. It's very flexible and very able to do almost whatever you want with graphics, which is very helpful and very beneficial, I think, especially for visual learners and those kind of learning styles. But yeah, so that's SlideDog. It's pretty good, and that is what I chose to review. Thanks.